So that's app, app.clinic, C-L-I-N-I-C, AndroidMakers.fr.
So while we wait, should we look at Eyal's browser's history? Too bad it's a test phone.
Okay, cool. Well, let's introduce that. We have 4 applications for now, maybe 5 anyways. You will be the 5th application. Depending on the timing, maybe we'll try to set it up all that together, okay? It's fine, no pressure. Hi everyone. Really good to see you again. That was a long time we didn't see that in this room, so that's a very good news. We are very happy. Today, we are here for the App Clinic. I will recall you what is the concept of this session. So this is first a very informal session. We are all together, we are a group, we'll close the door, and everything that's happening here. That's part of the show. Yeah, the idea of this session is reviewing applications by our beautiful panel of reviewers. Yeah, a lot of energy this morning, right? Yeah. Thank you. So there will be, for now, 4 applications, maybe 5, maybe 6, because we received it just 10 minutes ago. You sent it? Perfect. We will see. I hope we will have time. That's informal. So we have 80 minutes first. Maybe we will take a little bit more time at the end, depending on how you are angry, how you are not angry, because no one will be angry in this session. And that's a very important point. Actually, all the review, and actually even all the comment, and a lot of bienveillance in this session, because you will have developers that will come present very shortly an application, and then this application will be open on the Pixel 3 XL on screen, and reviewers will review them by definition, right? I think we can start. Oh, maybe, yeah, a little bit, sorry. Can we just introduce ourselves very shortly? Anita, I let you start.
Hi everyone, I'm Anita. I'm a group engineering lead at Gorillas, which is an app to have your essential needs delivered within minutes, and yeah, based out of Berlin, and excited to be here.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Effie. I work at Lottie, which is not the animation company. We are making tablets for children. I am the tech lead. I'm also based in Berlin.
Hello, my name is Nick Butcher. I'm an Android developer relations engineer at Google, mostly focused on UI and UX things. I'm based out of London and really happy.
Back at Search, I work from Italy, and I'm so happy to be here again.
And myself, Eyal, I'm working at Heuer, and I'm doing WordPress devices. That's nice. Let's start. So our first application will be ntNet. So you go, please. Yeah, I know, you are not afraid at all. Can you just, in 1 minute or less? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was supposed to give it you. That's fine. Thank you. 1 minute or less, very shortly. What is ntNet? What is M4? And maybe a little bit of the context of the project, which is interesting.
Yeah, I can choose it. Okay. Nice to meet you.
Oh no, please don't open the app.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's forbidden.
Okay, so ntNet is a plant identification app. So you can take a photo of your basil, and it will say it's a basil, basically. Quite simple, but at the beginning and still today, ntNet is a citizen observatory. So meaning when users take photo of plants with the location of the plant in the forest or in your garden, it can be shared online with the goal of making a biodiversity worldwide, and it's used for partners, for publishing data on gbif.org, which is a global biodiversity, not only plants, but everything, basically. And yeah, and users can review the other photo of plant and say, okay, it's not a basil, maybe it's I don't know, a flower or something, some sort, and yeah, that's all.
That's pretty clear. Thanks a lot, Hugo. You can have a seat, and maybe if we have questions, that's just right there, yeah. If the reviewer have questions, they will, of course.
And then you can throw the mic, which is what you're
Exactly,
waiting
yeah,
for.
I want to do that a lot. Seb, I'll let you start.
Perfect. I know nothing about plants. So great start. Okay. So, I'm not even going to look at that. So, the first thing I noticed is that there is a double splash screen. And I'm looking at Vadim now. Probably that's something you want to look at because that's kind of weird to see two splash screens in a row. That's a relatively easy fix.
Yeah, just something about the context. This is a Pixel 3 XL running Android 12. So that's the reason why the double splash screen. Now you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're here. It's to, I mean, I have a talent for breaking things without wanting to, so I'm sorry in advance if I break the app in some weird way.
This is, again, like the first thing I see, and I don't know anything about the app or plants, but the device location, I mean, I would ask why, or like, how is it used in the app?
Yeah, so the plant, we need the location as a start to pick. We need the location of the users to pick the best flora close to the user. So basically, if you are in France, we'll pick like the West Europe. But if it's in Japan, we will pick Japan flora, and it's used to reduce the number of species when he identifies plants. So there is a lot less species of plant species in Japan than in Europe, basically, than the whole Europe. So it's improved result and basically, and it's also important for us because the location of the plants makes the biodiversity database accurate, and we can see like the plants movements between the years and between the season and etc.
You can consider adding that to the app.
Yeah,
a short version, obviously.
Yeah. I'm working on making a new like onboarding flow for the user with 3-step, and we'll ask a text before.
Yeah, to build on that, it's quite a kind of like, blocking action, a modal, the first thing you see without any context. I'd try and get people to content and sell them on the app as soon as possible. So an idea might be to have it in line rather than the modal, something to say, customize for your location or something like this that you can opt into rather than blocking being the first thing you see. It's like, wait, all of a sudden you want this. And I wonder as well, are you using the find location or?
Yeah, we're using the find location.
Because I wonder if the course location might be more appropriate for that level of customization.
Yeah, for at the beginning maybe. Yeah.
And then if there's a feature which needs find, but again, being very like selling the value of the app before asking for something back, I think is a good approach.
Sure.
So I have a question on that distinction between when you actually need the find location. Is that when user submits something? Or when you submit something, you said you can put
it's not when they submit, it's when they take the photo of the plant.
Yeah, but you're taking a picture and then submitting it, registering the picture into the app, right? So that's the moment you need the find location. So as Nick was suggesting, maybe you start with the course location just to say, this vague generic location, and then, here's something, and then that's the point where you need to know exactly where that is. So you can escalate the permission at that point. It generally makes it easier for a user to understand why you're asking a permission if it's closer to the point in time where they're doing an action that is requiring that permission in the first place.
And maybe you can consider, like, if people don't want to give location, maybe they could enter an address or something like that as well, in case people don't want to give the location permission to the app.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for the course location. Like, I'm not going to submit anything, I just want to see the data, so I'm like, I'm in France. So
yeah, just enter the country or the city, whatever level of location you need.
You can still don't allow the location and search inside the flora and etc.
Well, that's what I just did. Let's see how it works without the permission. Okay, so I'm just gonna scroll a bit around trying to figure out what's going on. Oops, I didn't mean to refresh, but it's fine. So I have some problems reading some of the stuff up here, like word flora is a bit hard to read and hard to parse. I get you're trying to highlight it. I still don't know why at this point. So I'm thinking out loud as I go through, as if I were doing a user study. So I'm trying to understand what is the meaning of the app, what does every item on screen mean. And I see that you have highlighted word flora, but I'm not entirely sure yet what, like why it's highlighted. So, and I guess maybe your users come into the app knowing a bit better than I do, which I know nothing. But just as like at a glance, it's nice that you have the pictures, but maybe either like take the picture and make it smaller so you can read better the text, or figure out a way to change the layout in a way that the text has more contrast, especially for the green text, which is problematic.
Yeah, even the icon here, it's white, and the photo behind is really light, so you should be careful about contrast on the screen.
This whole screen will be like in the
Okay.
in one month.
The screen will change in 1 month.
Also, the meaning of the icons. I'm glancing at it. I'm not sure, but yeah, what they mean.
Yeah.
The green icons.
While we're giving lots of constructive feedback about the text as well, I'd say be careful of the kind of the hierarchy implied by the colors of the text. Like for me, the darkness of the counts like makes this the first thing my eye gets drawn to,
Yeah.
As opposed to the grays you're using on the title and the subtitle, I guess. So be careful of that. I think you could like give the heaviest weight to the most important information to draw the eye first. So I think naturally you'd want to go to the title, subtitle, counts, I would imagine. So I think this is the wrong way around. And the alignment also seems kind of strange to me. I don't know, is it centered within like a subset?
Yeah, the 2/3. Maybe.
But it just seems a little
Yeah.
bit like it's hanging like
Yeah.
over. I would probably like left a line on a screen such as this.
And just one question for you, Hugo, about the context also. You told that's a public research project also, even if it's very useful. I mean, I use it myself, to be honest, before knowing that Hugo was working on that for my plants at home. So it works also for cities, the people living in the city. Anyways, my question is, how many UX or UI designers are working on this project?
Yeah, I'm on when I was a developer, so when React Native, the application is made.
Yeah.
And so I'm also doing the UX and UI.
So just for the context of everyone, Hugo is alone on that, and providing feedback could be even very interesting because you will have a third-party point of view. Thank you.
One thing I have to say, I like the fab at the bottom. It's very prominent. I'm not entirely sure that having that much white space around it is particularly helpful, although with the amount of information that you have in the items in the list, that I guess is needed to provide enough contrast. But that might also be smell that you might want to tweak the way that the information is presented.
I think to go further than that, I'd be quite interested. You obviously got some nice imagery, like really nice pictures of all the plants. It would be nice to make more of this and like show content more. Like I said, if you could scroll up and down.
Yep.
So this area here, you could either have the button floating, or you could make this semi-transparent, I imagine, and like have the content fill the screen. And notice you're also not drawing behind the nav or the status bar. I imagine you could go fully edge to edge, as we say in Android, and really get that really immersive experience, because you have got beautiful imagery that you could celebrate more.
Yeah, and I really do want to say that the app, like as a whole, is very like pleasing to see, which is really nice.
Yeah.
All the green comes out. It's like it's a nice thing that you have the pictures. It would be a bit drab and boring if you didn't. So don't lose those. That's really good.
Another thing you might consider on the screen is some kind of scrolling reactions as well, because like you seem to be in two modes. I like that you have the search exposed and you have the kind of the action, primary action exposed straight away. But if you're in more browsing mode, if you start scrolling, you might consider having them scroll out or disappear, and you could even have them kind of jump straight back in as well with a reverse scroll, come down if you want to get the search back. But again, like if you're in kind of the explorer mode, like making the most of the screen real estate would be cool.
Yep. I'm gonna tap something. This. Okay, I didn't tap it well, but okay. So I tapped something, and now I'm in an entirely different screen, which is rightfully complaining I didn't enable GPS location. Oh, it's nice. I can tap it. I can provide.
This is tappable?
Yeah. I assumed it would, like I tried, and it worked. But I'm a curious person.
Yeah, so actually when I first saw that, I thought it was a snack bar, and then I was like, oh, it's hanging out. Yeah, so just something to think about, that it might look like a error snack bar.
Also looks like I might have broken because I've given the permission, but it's still there.
I'm not entirely
Okay.
sure why the bottom bar changed. This to me feels like these are a little bit of two different apps, or like I would consider ways to maybe have this already in the first screen, or like combine them. Because I'm like, wait a minute, is useful plans now different than world plans, or will I see something else, or?
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, generally with the bottom navigation pattern like this, it's generally persistent at the top level destinations. So is the screen we were on, I'm assuming, was it this one? Like, does that take us back, or? I don't know this. What do people think?
No, I think it's here.
Yeah, on the top.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so if there is a top level navigations, it will generally become.
Yeah.
I'm working on the onboarding to like ask the permission for the GPS and I'm working on the onboarding to ask the permission for the GPS, to explain the project overall, and next to guide the user to select the white flora without or with the GPS if enabled. So yeah, and afterward we'll arrive at the screen directly, but the onboarding will have a separate design which is more like onboarding style design.
I do have a question for everyone. Am I the only one to see a file instead of a camera? I don't know. When I tried the app, I was like, it's a folder. And I said, oh no, it's a camera. And I don't know if it's only me. Is anyone else seeing a folder? Okay, so don't take this feedback. It's only me.
Now that you said it.
So do the other categories also look exactly like this? Like this is, I guess, like if we switched from useful plans to like world plans, or would it still be the bottom exactly this, or the bottom bar?
Oh. I'm not sure why I ended up here. Sorry. So I tapped the useful plans thing at the top. I was expecting a drop down. I ended up in a different screen that says favorite floras, but I don't remember ever favoriting anything. So I'm a bit confused here. Maybe, I'm sure I'm missing the context to this, but you can take this as someone that has never used the app. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Why did I end up in this screen? How do I even favorite and unfavorite stuff? Like, oh, I didn't mean to put useful plans in my favorites, and how do I get it out now? So I guess if we could just go back, if I go back again, I went to a different screen. So I went back, I'm not sure where I am now. I'm a bit lost in the app hierarchy. And also coming from the initial screen where you have the list of all the categories, and then I tapped one and it did a weird transition where it moved in from the left, which is not something I'm very used to. Because my brain, being European, my brain is left to right, and right to left to me is going back. So I'm not. It might work better in Japan or other locales or Arabic locales where they have right to left. Not in Japan, but for me that was a bit confusing. So maybe you want to.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought the transition didn't resonate for me. I was thinking in Android a common way is like the expansion thing. So if you tap on an email in Gmail, the message kind of opens up into the detail. Especially because you have the imagery again. Like if you could do maybe a shared element transition would be pretty cool. I think a nice way to kind of keep the user with you, so you're not kind of like what's changed. You kind of take them with you into the next screen would be cool.
And that also helps a lot with the case of I'm lost where I am, because then if you are like drilling in, you have the mental model of I'm going in this direction, and then I know how to get back where do I end up.
It's also usually considered good UI if the tab that you're in is the one that's a little bit bigger. Because right now the camera is the one that's bigger, but you're actually on the, I think you're on the leaf.
About the tab too, you should probably add some labels because I don't know what is does it mean, and these two. And also, if some users are using the voice to use your app, they will probably want to trigger the camera. It's quite obvious, but I don't know what to say to trigger this menu. I don't know what to say to trigger this one, community. So if there is a label, the user can say community, and it opens the menu.
Yeah, and something to add, I think when you clicked on the image with the text to get here, it kind of went white. So maybe adding like a ripple, because when it went white, you couldn't see the text on it anymore. So instead adding a ripple when you tap.
Triggered sometimes when swiping, which was not great because it couldn't see the item as it was swiping. Small thing, but.
And also, I think trying to work out the color scheme as well, like why wood anemone, I can't say that, is green and why details is red. Like dead red to me signals a destructive action, or something like warning, very important. And I'm wondering if that's, I'm trying to decode, like my brain is like, why are these things these different colors? So I'd try and think about color and use it purposefully, like try and, use it for communicating information hierarchy, or if something is a different action is going to do something very different or destructive, or you want to draw attention to it. At the minute, I can't decode it.
What I propose, because we've reviewed a lot of things, maybe one last part while we are taking a picture of a plant, because that's the first.
Who's gonna play the plant?
Do you have a plant?
Who's gonna play the plant? Okay.
Actually, I opened a Monstera leaf image, so let's try it.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
so I press the camera.
That's a
thing.
Monstera. I'm pretty nice with you. It's not that hard, that one. But it's not like a real plant that you are taking picture of.
Okay, I've taken the picture.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
That's fine.
That's a leaf.
Okay.
Yeah, just the screen before, sorry. Maybe we
Yeah, you went a bit fast.
Yeah, I went a bit fast, so there was a screen where you had to choose if it's a leaf, a flower, a trunk, or I don't remember the last one, just to let you know. So there is a user choice.
Can we redo it one sec?
Sure. Let's take another picture.
Yay. More pictures. Okay. So I like the animations, like I'm doing something, but the only thing I would say is maybe separate it from the background, because otherwise it's a bit like, it looks like I can do other stuff while it's processing, and I'm not sure that's the case. So this screen is nice. I think, you have the same touch effect thing that probably not needed, but I like the fact that it's very visual. It's like, oh, it's a leaf, and then you see a leaf, and it's a flower. Maybe someone doesn't know what a flower is, but it looks very nice. It's colorful, and I like colors. So
one thing I'd be careful of is the background protection as well. With the habitat especially, I find it's getting lost a little bit. Yeah. So you might want to put like a color scheme on the background, or more of. I think there might be one.
One thing also, I tested this screen with talkback, and for leaf, it says it's an organ. I don't know in English. I tried in French. It says organe, feuille, organ leaf. And I think organ is. I think it's a technical word, and I don't know. As an end user, I don't know what is an organ when we talk about plants. Yeah. So it can be quite disturbing. Yeah, type of plant.
Like
so
muscle, earth.
Yeah, but it's a bit easy to lose the title at the top that says, like the prompt, put in the prompt in the app bar. It's kind of weird because I tend to see the app name there and it's like, oh, you need to choose now, what is this? Maybe you can have that in some sort of a prompt next to the image, like, oh, nice picture, what is this?
Or put it below the image because it's like the choose refers to the lower section. So I think getting proximity.
Yeah, I was thinking somewhere, oops, I pressed the image. I was thinking somewhere maybe like here, it's like, nice pic, what is that? And then just make it a bit more, like again, getting prompts closer to the context they're related to generally makes it easier for users to understand them. So it's a leaf. It's very cool.
It's working great.
Look at that.
I'm totally installing this app. This is cool.
Nice.
So there is something, okay, as a user, because I tested it for a very specific purpose, knowing basically a plant that I know has a common name, Monstera here, what is the real species, and know how to take care of it, or when it is come from, etc. And that's something that is extremely interesting in terms of data, that you have the Latin name of this. And this is a very, very key for, I think, a lot of people. And it's enoughly clear on the screen too.
Yeah. The only thing I'm not 100% sure about is why I have the older picture here. I have two, and it just happens to be the same plant, but I don't think that's always the case. Is that just like the history of the pictures, or? Ha!
Basically, the UI flow is kind of shitty for the whole flow of identifying, because if you press back one time, you will go to a screen which is an option not to display, basically by default, which can where you can add photos to the same observation. So you can take a photo of the flower, of the leaves, of the bark, etc. And the goal is the more photo you have of different organs, it helps identifying the plant, and this also helps to better make a good observation at the end.
Okay, so that wasn't very clear to me by just going through the flow, because it was like, oh, I take one picture and then it tells me what plant it is, but maybe like a more clear prompt to the user to say, oh, that's a nice leaf picture. What about fruits? Do you see any? Take a picture of that. Like, be more.
Yeah, I would consider the same, being like super explicit about, do you want to take more photos of the same plant? Yes or no? And then switch you to the identifying part once they're done taking all the photos. So do the photo stuff, then say, are you done? Now identify it.
Yeah. Cannot add because
Lot
there's
of
a lot of people, like in Kenya, for example, which does it for like inside the reserve. I don't know, like a restricted area in Kenya, and they use the app to repertoire to identify the plant in the area, and they need to be fast when making that because they are taking a lot of photos every day with the application. So, like removing the additional steps along the way helps them at the end. So it's hard because we have experts which are botanists and etc. And we also have like common users who don't know much about plants, and it's finding the good middle ground in between. Like,
is there a way to, instead of taking the photos from the app, also upload photos, and then they can take a bunch of photos and then just upload them as bunches? Like,
yeah, they can.
Okay.
The alternative in the flow in the app could be something like you take the first picture and then you get the results, but also you get like a fab. There's like more pictures. And then you can add, a big plus there would also work. I think it was there earlier, but I'm not sure. Down there, oh, okay, yeah, would never have found that, I'm sorry. I'm also not entirely sure why there's a drop down here at the top. Like, I would say in this flow, focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Just keep it as focused as possible, because otherwise people are like, often too many options can be a bit overwhelming, I think.
And one thing I really like is the to be positive.
Yeah.
I really like is this the match percentage or like confidence perhaps? I think this is really good because it kind of gives me like an understanding of the ranking you've used, and you can tap
Please
it.
press on it.
Tap on it. Ah, nice. And I like the way you've kind of shaded part by the percentage. I think this is very nice. I'd maybe line this up with I think this is like the primary thing for the ranking. I'd probably line it up with the name of it as well, so you can understand, because it seems a bit floating. And maybe try and disambiguate between the items more, like have some kind of divider probably between them. But yeah, I think this is really cool, like showing the confidence intervals.
But also
Thank you.
tweak the text size a bit. Yes.
Seb, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That will be the last comment, and that's positive, so that's a good thing. That's a good conclusion. Thanks a lot,
cool.
Hugo. That's
Thank you.
very... You can applause, yeah. This exercise is really stressful for the developer. I mean, they're almost naked in front of
No, I want to tell you, I'll
floor.
definitely use this app. This is
I am going to use it as well.
Definitely.
Yes,
3 more users.
good advertising for you.
I'm already a
Next,
user.
we need another leader. Who wants to do that? No?
No.
Me? Do you want it? Let's go, Nick. Nick,
Whatever
you
we
will
do.
be our Muslim expert today.
Oh.
So that's the second app. Who is the developer Muslim? Please come and join us. Clotter, that will be easier. Can
Hello.
you please present the application, the context, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so that's an app that I released 2 years ago. It's dedicated to Muslims, as you can see. It's like a super app for Muslims, so there are a lot of features like prayer times, alarms, Mecca direction, Quran, etc., etc. I will let you discover. So I'm the only one developer for both Android and iOS. I'm working also on the backend part and on the design. So
Please be kind.
I'm the Muslim
One-man
expert.
show.
So you're the expert here.
Yeah, kind of.
Nice. Thanks a lot. What's your name, sorry?
Julien.
Thank you, Julien. You can have a seat and we will start. Oh, sorry, Effie,
do-
you have something to say.
No, maybe.
No,
You
the-
should
Yeah,
go
yeah,
there.
yeah, Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's launch the app.
Good job.
Okay. So firstly, where do you live? So I like that we didn't get a location pop up here. That's very good. I'm hoping it will offer it to use the sensors as well. So if I hit search, okay, perfect. So I can see my location. So I'm
That's
assuming
nice.
if I do this, then you get. and
It's a
if
bit
I-
odd though that it
Take
pops
notes.
up at the top.
Yeah, that's true actually. Like I tap here and it moves here.
Is that the search city button?
Yes.
Okay. No, I mean,
Just doing it in line, you
yeah,
suggest, yeah?
you could try and do that in line. It would probably look more natural than having like a model thing that pops up on top and has the same UI but above.
Or if you really need it higher for some reason, if you want to have a big drop down, then you could
Yeah.
animate it up to the top perhaps. And just exploring this first screen. Okay, I very much like that you have the second language switch. I think there's a new feature in Android 13 coming as well, which makes this even easier to do as well, doing the per app language. And now I can't understand it.
Oh, things appeared? Oh, that's
Oh.
on the other way.
Oh.
On the other.
Oh.
It doesn't work.
It's not seeing that because so few apps consider.
Nice
Yeah.
Well done on that.
move, Effie.
I think what happened. I'm going to put it back, if that's okay. Cool. Did you put Paris in, or did it?
I think you offer location. If
I didn't. I said no. Okay.
It's hard-coded for the demo.
Okay.
Also, this screen is quite simple. The only purpose of the screen is to set up your location, and there is nothing else except for the notification, but nothing else just disturbing you. You just know you have to just put the location and you will have another screen. So this is nice because it helps the user to understand quickly and keep the focus.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I really like it's kind of you're setting your location or notification, all kind of you're basically being set up in this first screen to use the app. So I kind of really like that as well.
If I can add something, there is something that is very interesting on this screen because that's very simple, right, in terms of functionality, but also in terms of efficiency and not branding, but identity. This screen, I've never seen this kind of screen in any app, and the image is perfect and totally, I mean, that's pretty immersive in terms of experience. I really like it. Maybe the toggles could be replaced by chips or something if you want to do something with I won't say a fancier design, but that's a point of view, a little bit subjective. Maybe a designer could work on the concept. Anyways, it's very usable and I really like it.
Yeah, on the visual thing as well, I think you could probably run the nice image behind the status bar as well, just to get even more immersive. So you
Right.
don't have the
Right.
existing transition there would be nice. Anything else, or should we move on?
Yeah, just one thing. Can you switch back to Arabic one sec?
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't notice. No, okay. Because I see the images moving from one side to the, like it's slightly shifting when you change the language. I know I'm being a bit anal about it, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the
Picky, Sev.
but yeah, and yeah, that was just a minor thing, but I saw it jumping around and I was wondering whether it was actually being mirrored, which would have been weird. That was the thing I was looking for. Yeah. Yeah, the one thing I would say is that we don't generally use chevrons like the arrow next to start on Android. I understand you're doing your own design is not material, that's fine, but generally we don't really have that kind of indication to mean that there's a secondary screen coming after that. And also this is more like a desktop thing where you have like the next with the arrows thing.
And it doesn't also look as clickable. I think you could maybe use a fab, like an extended floating action button affordance might work quite nicely here, like a floating pill with the shadow. I think would draw the eye to it as well. Should we go?
Oh, just a quick one. I don't know if it's like the contrast over there, or like the white text on the light blue.
Yeah,
maybe
you should check.
Yeah, worth running accessibility scanner. Please, can you easily point these things out?
Yes, if you don't know the accessibility scanner app, it's amazing. Like really, really good. Ooh, I like the
So
animation.
you're clicking on start, right, Nick?
Sorry, yeah, I click start. And so this takes us into the time screen. And add for it. So yeah, if you didn't catch the animation at the top, I thought that was very good. I think I tried this earlier. If you go back and come into it, you should see it again. So you see the sunrise.
I love that it changes the colors in the image and in the rest of the screen. It's very,
I'm just going to keep doing this all day.
And there are some stars during the night.
Ah.
Yeah, I tested it last night and it was...
That's a very good choice of advertiser.
Yeah, slightly intrusive.
Yeah.
Gotta make a living.
Did that just pop up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know interstitials pay better, but that was the end of the sentence.
Also, I tested it with Talkback too for blind user, and so it takes the focus. And I think I don't know which API you're using for ads, but you cannot leave the ad. So you're basically stuck in the ad. And I don't know which ad I had, but there were a button at the top to leave the ad, and it was not focusable. So I couldn't leave the ad. I was just forced to buy something or do something. So you should test it.
Okay, so continuing on. So these are the times of prayer. These are the prayer times on the screen. Telling me now. Okay, this is cool. And cool. Careful on the touch targets as well, because I see the alarm notification. If you can see here, is it tappable? Is it the whole row?
Is there
tappable?
touch feedback?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no touch feedback. The first thing. So as I'm pressing on an item, it's great to have it visually respond. Typically a ripple filling to the bounds. And yeah, again, I didn't know that this was tappable until you actually execute it. So yeah, again, a ripple I think would highlight this action here. And be careful on the touch target size as well. These are quite small. You want to go for a minimum of 48 by 48 dips, which looks like it might be okay height-wise, but it looks a little tight size-wise. Again, accessibility scanner will flag any any tappable elements which are under the recommended sizes as well. So another plug for accessibility scanner there as well. One thing I'm kind of expecting to be able to swipe between today, tomorrow, and month. Generally, when you see the kind of like tabs like this, I expect it to have a swipe action to be able to move between them. Any other thoughts on the screen?
I like that it looks a lot like the weather app, the Google weather app. I think you should maybe even lean on that a little more and really kind of try and incorporate more of those elements. I think that would give what?
The frog?
Yes, I think that would give the like people a lot of familiarity and like a sense of like we know this app.
Yeah.
We've used something similar.
I have a question on the icons next to the prayer times. I'm not entirely clear what the third state is. It's like notify, don't notify, I don't know like yet the crossed out sign, the crossed out circle, what does that mean?
Sorry, take the mic.
So you get a notification with sound, you get a notification without sound, and you get no notification at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that wasn't very clear to me. I don't know how you can express that with an icon easily enough, but
These are generally.
There will be, just to complete that, there will be, because I think that's exactly the same thing, almost, that we had on the previous screen with the two goal, right? That's the same goal. No? Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna check if these. I think these are the same icons, right? When you pick from your own. From your own. Do I want my device to make noise? Do you have that on your? No.
Volume, yeah.
See, do not disturb. No.
Yeah, be careful if you do that.
Okay.
Maybe you could use the do not disturb icon instead of the crossed circle. But I also see that there's like the item above, like the second one, I will not try to pronounce it, but the second one doesn't have any icon, and I don't know what that means either.
Yeah.
It's like a fourth state. It's not immediately clear to me why that is.
Maybe because you are not Muslim.
I am sure that there is a good element of that.
I was waiting for these answers from the beginning.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm trying to work out as well is the highlight. Is it the next prayer session, the white background highlighted item?
Sorry?
Is this one has the white background because it's the next?
Yes.
Okay, and these ones that are past. So you might want to do a different treatment for the ones that are in the past. So maybe de-emphasize these ones, like, you know, make them kind of more grayscale, essentially.
And there's no point in setting an alarm on them either. Like you.
Yeah.
For the next day.
There's no point in having them usable, like touchable or usable, because there's no point in setting an alarm on them.
The ones in the past, you mean?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, but it's the same setting for tomorrow.
Okay.
So if you go to tomorrow,
It's not just for today.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe that's also a little, could use some clarification. Is it the settings for every day or the settings just for today? Because it's not clear to me that what I'm changing here would also impact tomorrow.
I also kind of was wondering, as you go through the times, I want to see the sun moving, just because you've obviously built a really cool animation. I want to be able to like tap on this and
Yeah.
see what's going on. Okay, so when you tap in, this is the choosing the notification sound for this prayer alarm. Okay. I'm trying to think if that's the primary action I would expect. Like what I'm thinking is, when I tap on this, what do you want? Is it? I kind of think like choosing the sound would be like more of a like a ... icon next to it, and the primary action might be turning the alarm on or off. I think I'm trying to think what's more common. I mean, you know the use case better than I, but I'd have the row tap item be the most common one, and the less common one be the like a.
yeah, the question is this more like an alarm app where you set the ring alarm once, and then it's always the same, and at most you you don't change the time obviously, but you can change when to get notified. So how often do people change the ringtones? And if you have analytics that can also help you and make a decision for this.
I guess you also picked that already, right? That was on the first screen. You picked which alarms you want for the day.
Yeah.
And
But
so
that was a
now
switch.
Now I would assume that these are specific for a specific day. You're saying in general I want alarms for all my prayers, but tomorrow I don't want the morning time. I wouldn't expect here this one, for example, to change tomorrow. I'd say maybe specifically for today I would like to not get an alarm because I'm in a meeting or something.
Yeah, I just want to say this. Remove ads, I really do want to click on it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's really
That's
good,
why.
right? Because then you might enroll in premium. So I think that's doing the job. But curious what others think.
I also love the fasting times card. It's really nice. It's like very visual, has an illustration, which is something that is always missing from things. Like, gives a lot of flavor to the UI.
I have a question on notification. There is a very interesting feature from the alarms applications most of the time, is that almost 1 hour before the alarm, a notification silently will pop up. And from this notification, you will be able to ignore the next one. So is it a feature that you implemented?
No, but I have the permanent notification here.
Okay, next prayer.
But it's a bit different compared to...
Okay, so yeah. But if on the context of the next prayer, you can just dismiss it, or at least dismiss the alarm. That would be interesting.
Yeah, okay.
On the next prayer thing, Nick, if you can go back to the top of the screen. So there is a timer for the next prayer time. I don't know, again, it might be cultural context that I'm missing, but how relevant is it that I know how many seconds are left? It's kind of like, I don't know, it's making me slightly anxious. So maybe you can do like, it's 2 hours from now, it's 1 hour from now, it's 30 minutes from now, and then get more granular as you get closer to the time, which is generally a bit more user-friendly. And then, I don't know, like you already show the exact time next to it. One thing I was wondering, is the device set to 12 or 24 hours?
I don't remember.
I'll tell you in 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just wait now, right? No, I don't know if the app is respecting the system setting for using 12 or 24 hours. If it's not, it's probably a good idea to do it because users want something they're familiar with. And
I
it's
think
a bit annoying if
Rotation
it's
is
not
blocked
doing it.
on the phone, I think.
I think the
No, you
timer is actually important information. I mean, maybe, I agree not to the granularity of seconds. I would consider ways to highlight it a little bit, even put it on the top or find some way, because it is really relevant information. When I'm looking at this, I want to know, okay, how long do I have?
I propose we switch to another screen because we will have to end the reviews quite soon.
Before I do, one thing I noticed as well is you're locking to portrait, so there's no landscape support, which always makes me sad.
Think how big the nice animation can be in landscape.
Yeah, I think there's opportunities, and Android devices come in all shapes and sizes, and people like to hold their devices in different ways. I know it's more work to design landscape layouts, but there's more like foldables and tablets and stuff going on these days. So it'd be nice to see landscape, I think. Okay, should we try another?
I think there's also a use case for using this on a desktop setting where you're like on a Chromebook or maybe even on Windows now. So you can have the app that is resizable. People can put it in a window and they can use your app.
So then this is the direction to Mecca, I think. Is this correct? Okay, so we need to allow the location permission. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Know where you're in the world. Okay.
There is no ripple on the button when you click on it. If the phone is a little bit slow, that could be 1 second for the pop-up to appear. So 1 second without any user feedback after a click. A ripple is almost free and very useful for these cases.
Mm-hmm.
I want to also say that the map is more distinguishable in the phone than it is on the screen. It's hardly visible on the screen, but it's actually, you can tell that this is the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks good on the device. I'd say actually I like that it's kind of somewhat subdued on the device because it's not about being distracted by the map, right? It's about the direction you need to face, correct? Right, so I actually like the way that you've made the map kind of like go into the background. So this is cool. I like the way the color changes as you're pointing in the right direction. Yeah,
that's very nice. What is the 118 degrees at the top? Because that never changes.
Is it the bearings here?
It's the direction to Mecca in degrees.
Eyal.
Not sure it's relevant.
Oh. Sorry.
It's a direction to the Mecca in degrees, but I'm not sure it's relevant indeed.
Okay.
I mean, given you have the interactive compass, which is great, I don't know, like, that would be useful, I guess, if someone then closed the app, took out the compass, and then started orienting with
But
that. But
I think it was on the previous screen also, no? No?
No.
Okay, so yeah.
I didn't have the permission for the location.
Oh no, sorry.
I also want to say that I think the mecha symbol can use a little bit of maybe a little bit of love. Yeah, but I don't know. It kind of feels like
aliasing, you mean?
what? Yeah,
It's a bit low res.
yeah. It's a little bit low res. Kind of looks like a.
Should we do another screen?
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, don't want to cover.
So these are surats, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, these are Quran quotes. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I noticed is the tab. I'd probably go for a more standard tab because at the minute they're not clear. They didn't look like tabs to me. I'd expect some kind of underline, but then it is following the normal tab swiping between it. So I'd expect that to do that. To change with.
There was also some inconsistency between the tab that says bookmarks and the copy for the empty state that says favorites. So small thing, but try to use the same terminology everywhere.
Okay.
Another nice one for the empty states is like making them tappable as well. So if like
Yeah.
let me click on the thing where it will take me to where I can then choose. Then
Yeah, or grey it out in a way that makes it obvious that it's not actionable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was a bit weird that when you opened search,
It
it
said
started
no results.
searching with no search query. So
Yeah.
maybe you can just skip that.
Skip that, or even do it inline. I think as well. Like just have the
Yeah.
the search control expand out here.
Yeah.
Would be
You can
nice.
even reuse a similar UI to the one you have in the onboarding, where it just expands to the full search screen, but you stay on this screen. You don't move to a different one, unless you're doing that for the ad impressions.
I also feel like this screen feels a little like blander compared. Like I really like the kind of like the animated element and then the visuals here. Go away. Okay, skip. And then coming to this screen, I'm wondering if there's something you could do with a header element perhaps or something, because it feels just out of keeping perhaps with the other screens.
Yeah, some nice visual would really go a long way. What's the
Oh,
cog icon doing?
I was just checking, the tap indication is interesting. So
Ah.
as I tap on an item, it's expanding the number.
Oh,
I
didn't
guess I'd
notice
expect
that.
a standard ripple highlight for the right item. And the cog. It's preferences.
I like the settings for text size. I think some users, they don't know how to go to change the text size in the Android device. So it's nice to find it directly in the app.
And I love that there's a preview. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you cannot see is that it's not actually.
I can't
scrollable.
drag it.
It's not
Slider.
draggable. It's
Okay.
more. It's a number. It's like a fix. You have to tap on a higher value.
Yeah, not sure the tap target either.
It should be draggable.
So I would change that either to like arrows or something that indicates that you can move it between like 3 and 4, but you can't move it to 3.5. So yeah.
Nick, are there sliders in the material library that have like the indicators for the fixed values, right? Maybe you can use that instead.
And it's maybe a small nit as well. If you can slide it, which I'd like to be able to slide it as well. The fact that it then jumps. Oh,
Yeah.
hang on. I could slide it then. Oh. I don't know if there's something wrong with the touch target slide, but the fact that it's jumping around makes it harder to use as I tap, and then it's jumped away from me. I was wondering if we could maybe try and make this stable. The top item is resizing. It's pushing it down. But I do like that it animates the changes as well. Animate layout changes for the win.
And I think that will be the last feedback. Thanks a lot for that, Julien.
Really cool.
Thank you.
Good. Next one. VLC people. Yeah, you already upload.
Hello, my name is Nicolas Pompuy. and I'm the lead developer of VLC 400. VLC 400 is a port of the VLC app, which is famous on desktop. It's a media player, which goal is to play every file format.
Great.
The same for Android.
Actually, everybody knows you already. That's great. Thanks a lot, Nicolas. Just take a seat, not so far, so I won't smash people.
Short throw.
Yeah, that will be easier.
Alright.
Okay, so yeah, Nicolas asked us to review the beta of
Okay.
VLC. That's what's happening when you are opening the app for the first time.
What is the difference in behavior between the two actions I have on screen?
The start button will continue the onboarding, while the cross button will stop the onboarding.
Okay.
And the app is done to be usable without the permission and so on, which are asked during the onboarding.
I would not
I
expect
think I feel like if you tap on the cross as I just opened the app, it will close
Yeah,
the
I
app.
did. I would not have expected
So
that. I
probably,
would expect it to leave the app.
Maybe we can
Had a button saying skip. Yeah.
No, you can leave it there, but make it explicitly say skip or take you
Yeah.
to the app.
Or if this is an onboarding screen, and if it's optional, if you can skip it, maybe a different presentation rather than the full screen modal, you could have it as a bottom sheet maybe, so you see the main app and see it, so then it's explicit that this is not the main app, right? This is the onboarding flow, and you can dismiss or continue.
Or you can even have the in layout onboarding where you're in the main screen. If you have a list of some sort, you can have a card that is very colorful and distinct from the others. Says, oh, by the way, you want to set up the media library or whatever.
But without the onboardings, there will be no content because the user won't be able to give the permission to.
So it is kind of
access-
mandatory, but not
Yes.
mandatory, but kind of
Yes.
mandatory. Okay.
So maybe you can't skip it. Okay. All right. So let's do the mandatory onboarding. I like that you're explaining why you need a permission.
I feel this could be.
That's something that has to be improved. It was an emergency action because of the permission change on Android 12, 11 in fact. As VLC is able to play any file, even zip file or anything, the standard permission is not sufficient to be able to access all the files. So that's why there is a double, but it will be improved.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can bring that prompt into and the context, bring it to the main, so the user can only just like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, the second time it shows it's okay to just show the default, like please allow. I don't know what I want to do here.
Can automatically scan your device.
The app will then index your media, and you can choose what folders you want to index. If you tap Customize, you will have access to.
A small note on the previous screen, I feel you can have some more margin on the side, because it was creeping very close to the edges of the screen.
I also feel like there's a lot of unused space in the previous screen, so maybe you could also inline some of the customization into the screen instead of it going to another one.
Yeah.
Here, the internal memory wasn't automatically selected, so I actually feel like the customize button is mandatory, because otherwise it wouldn't have done.
It's not. If you, yeah, I understand what you mean, but if you, the fact is, if you enter the screen, we decided to make it off, because if you turn it on and you want to navigate further down, you won't be able to select anything because the parent is already selected.
But what if you had the internal memory, if the user gave you the permission in the previous screen, you can have it in the second screen, just inlining it, having it pre-selected, and then you can have a button next to it saying customize which folders you.
Yeah.
So you can skip one, and then local network, I would imagine not many people necessarily use it or need to set it up at the get-go, so that could also be a separate item, like, oh, do you also want to? So you don't have to present it, and you can inline a bit of information.
Yeah, a few thoughts as well. With the no local network, I think it's not very actionable. Like, I don't know if I should know how, like, I should connect to a local network. Is there the possibility to have some help text or, you know, a button to click to find out more about local network, what like VLC can do? It's like an opportunity to.
Plus,
to
you're on
sell.
the Wi-Fi, so
Yeah.
it's a bit weird.
That's something we do in the other empty states, but yes, we can add more explanation here.
And two smaller things as well. Oh, one smaller one, like some of the paddings and alignments, I think could be kind of just aligned a bit better. But also the status bar, if you can see, if you can see it, it is black on black or dark on dark. Is above.
Two things is one that I usually, if I do some selections, I would like to have a difference between cancel and OK. So here it's not really clear. I'm guessing the X is OK because there's no OK. But X is usually, I cancel this thing, I want to go back. So
and it's also the same verb you used to skip the entire onboarding earlier.
So now I'm scared that if I click X, I will.
That's confusing, yes.
And the other thing is the thing that I guess is a lesson learned from like a lot of like installers. And I mean, everybody here used installer. Please tell me if you ever clicked any other option than next start, which kind of makes those a little bit redundant unless somebody's very, very like a pro user and really wants to customize. Most people will just want the default settings and like to go with it. So
there's some settings on Windows, like some installers on Windows these days have the install button that does everything with the defaults, and then the customize one where you can actually, like you have two flows, the straight one, which is, I'll take all the defaults, I can change them later, and the one is like, no, I want to set up everything now.
yeah, and really 95% of the people will just ignore all these, so.
I have to say I love the icon though. It's very cute. There's
All
a
right,
question?
Join him?
Yeah.
Sure.
Get the mic. Get the
Previous
mic.
development.
Maybe Nico, you can introduce Geoffrey.
Cool. I am Geoffrey. I'm the former developer of VLC, so I set up some of these things. And left this to Nicolas. So I have one additional question for you. Can you just go back in the customize and unselect internal memory, but click on it and select one of its folder? The challenging part of this feature is that it's technical. We have to choose which folders will be discovered, will be browsed by the VLC engine to list all the media file and show it in the app. So that's a bit difficult to set with the regular UI component to like select these folders, and then if you go back to the root level, we have
Just
to
X?
do a custom.
No,
Sorry. Yes, we want to do a custom partially selected checkbox, and I would love to have your experience on this. How could we improve this UX, because this was really challenging, and we are not really happy with what we came from.
The first thing, I've gone through this onboarding several times because I use VLC on my phone. And one thing that the first time I found confusing was that those are checkboxes, but they're also buttons that bring you to a different, like you can drill down into those folders if they have a subfolder. So maybe you want to make it like more explicit, especially at the root level where you have internal memory, everything, or customize, and then you bring them to this, and I don't have an answer on exactly how to make it clear, but at least visually distinguishing which part of the item will bring you to drill down and which part of the item will just toggle the state, and also distinguish a bit more the ones that you can actually go into. So if you have a visual distinction between the different kinds of items, the ones that are actually only the whole checkbox toggle and the ones that do something else. So having those visually different can be helpful.
having that top here, the browse internal memory, even put it at, so I literally had no idea that you can click on the internal storage and get this list. So there was...
Maybe that you, because I reused the regular file browser UI.
Yes, exactly.
I just factorize, and maybe it's a more specific UI we had to set up.
All right.
I'm also here to say that the bad things are my fault and not everything is Nicolas.
So yeah, theme chooser is nice.
But
Again,
now
just
it's
the
right.
margins on the side.
Especially on the Fold 2.
Can we play these videos, or is there embarrassing stuff we should not be
Is
playing?
there-
My videos?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't recognize that, to be honest.
I mean,
Let's go.
unless you stole the
I'm
phone.
from now, and that's live stream, so I'm very
I clicked on something that
Oh.
seemed...
Yeah, about the player control, I tried it with Tollback, of course.
Yeah.
And these buttons, there is no alternative. So he said, I don't know in English, sans libellé, no label, double tap to activate, no label, double tap. Yes. And also, when I clicked on this one, so when you see it change here and say it's for subtitle, for example, but with Tollback, this is not focusable, and also there is no feedback that something has changed on the screen. So basically I click here and I don't know what are those buttons, but also I don't know that something has changed and what's happening. So
So you could do a custom announce when
yeah,
the action
yeah,
is
you
active.
can do announce for accessibility if you're still with.
In general, we can do better on
You want
accessibility.
to, yeah, but just I tried with that, so I'm giving you some feedbacks because I know as a developer we are not trained to do accessibility, and basically we often don't have time to try that. So
Generally, for accessibility, we did like most people, just some waves of effort on this stuff. Sometimes I say that we lack some. Sometimes we say that we lack some accessibility, so we do like a full scan of the app and adding it, and then we go back to 6 months, 1 year on regular development, and we.
And you
forgot
should
more,
add
the
it
more
in
and
your
more we
definition of
forgot
done.
this,
I don't know, because
and we go back to
VLC
this catch-up phase.
you are huge. And for example, I'm working for Valentin Heuer Foundation. It's the biggest foundation for blind person in France, and I'm developing a media player because they don't have an accessible one. So please try to do something.
Also, this one is open source and open for contributions.
I'm also. Oh, sorry.
No, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit confused of what's like the main action you want us to do here, because like next is very prominent, but you also have the thing that's blinking at the bottom, and there's 5
And there's
buttons.
also the skip at the top.
Always.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I went through this earlier. I was confused that you automatically go into the tip screen rather than have it be opt-in. Like many people confused. Is there a reason why you always? I mean, to me, I'm looking at it. The controls, it's the media player controls look fairly standard. Especially, I came in here and I was trying to press play, and it was telling me what the play button did. I was like, I know what a play button does. I'm trying to press it. So I'm wondering, is there a reason why you automatically show the tips?
There are also other steps for more advanced features, but yes, it's automatically opened the first time you start a playback, and
But
it's the same for an audio playback.
I guess like everyone is familiar with those action when talking about media player. We do understand that it is for subtitle. We do understand it's a player, replay, full screen, and more options.
Maybe the first
maybe
screen
not-
is
not
too
useful.
descriptive. Yes.
The
Yeah.
second one is actually for the screen orientation.
Oh, okay.
But one thing you could do is do like I think YouTube does, which is the basic stuff. You don't need to onboard people to. But then you have the gestures. You want to onboard people to the gestures, so that the ones on the side, the swipe up and down
Yes.
for brightness and volume. That's what you want to onboard people to.
Yes, maybe we need to remove the first screen.
Yeah, like this is very nice. There's the fact that it shows the gesture. I don't know in terms of accessibility how that works, but
I think it will not be great, or use sliders, volume up. I don't know. You should try, but
maybe if
Well-
there is talkback enabled, you can just skip that.
yeah, I think because if you do that on with talkback on, it will just do some other action because it's already an action on talkback. But when using slider on talkback, you can use also volume up, volume down. So probably you can act like this is a slider, but I don't know. It's
I want to say that
maybe not useful.
to get here, I clicked next, and I'm not entirely sure why next brought me here. I would have expected to either come out of the subtitle. I don't know which option is selected at the bottom, or like why am I here? How did it? Am I in settings now?
And one minor thing, video player tips at the top looks fine on the screen, but on the device it's behind the notch. So you might want to ensure you're avoiding display cutouts.
Yes.
Or the insets.
Yeah, nothing in the bottom is highlighted. Like nothing in the bottom is selected. I'm not sure where I'm.
Yeah,
in
maybe
the
we can hide the controls because all the other steps are not about
Yeah.
the controls.
Maybe if there is several steps in this onboarding screen, maybe you can show also to the user you are on step 4 on 5 because it's quite confusing. Just it never ends, and
So if you don't do it now, but what happens if I do back from here?
Sorry?
If I do back, like, will it exit the whole
It will,
thing?
it will just close the tips,
Okay.
the same as X at the top.
Do you want to do that or?
No,
keep
I was
going
just
through the
curious.
tips? Okay.
Maybe we can try the player because again we are running out of time.
All right.
Please.
This is a lot of onboarding. All right. There's a.
Don't ask me, please. I mean, that's my development phone. I don't know why I have videos in on this.
There's.
Oh, what are you doing? That's a new one.
Oh.
you have
It
a
said
video.
it said it was a trailer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, I thought it was the Qonto application, which is the next video. Okay, let's do it again. Keep the video, keep the video. What is it? That's a...
It happens to me at least once a week.
Okay, seems to be... But focus on the player on VLC, please.
Sorry, it looked like the longest video.
Yeah, but no, but we can even focus on VLC and then we'll...
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
okay, I got it. Sorry.
I do recognize the brand here, which is really great. Like all the VLC lovers.
So,
I would hide the top bar.
yeah.
I don't
It's
know. I don't know why it's not coming.
Okay.
Mais là, ça marche pas. Là, ça marche pas, il y a un bug, je pense. I think that's a bug.
Okay.
One,
That's a beta version.
one thing I really like is that you handle configuration changes, so you can turn the orientation sideways, which is great. Can you make it animated, please?
Make it what?
Like animate given you're handling it. I know it's complicated,
Yes.
but I like
It's
to have
complicated
difficult-
because we had to add a config change to ignore the orientation change because of the surface view.
Maybe not that much because precisely we have the configuration. Maybe not that much because we have this configuration flag on the activity because it's one of the specific case. It's better to just do not recreate the activity to avoid having a glitch in the video. So precisely for that, we may be able to, we're using a constraint layout with it, so it may be quite easy to just resize dynamically. Maybe that's easy.
You can try. You can try. One thing that other video apps do, because they have additional content to show. When you're in portrait, you don't get the small video in the center, you get the video at the top, keeping the aspect ratio, and then show something at the bottom, so that you don't have the action to rotate the screen, you have the action to go full screen. I don't know if the verb could make sense for you, but I don't know if you have anything else to show in the first place.
The issue here is that there are controls at the top under some conditions, so the video would be under these controls when you open it.
Mm.
Any last comment before we switch to the next app?
Can you go in the Browse tab, please? Oh, first of all, good thing on allowing portrait everywhere, landscape everywhere. That's good. Is it resizable?
Yes. The app is
Well
running under Android TV, Chromebook, Android Auto.
That's what I heard. I like to
tablets.
hear. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I like the fact that you have the favorites with very clearly identified folders. Like, they're not all the same. You're just not relying on just the text to tell, oh, that's the downloads, that's the movies, that's the music. That's a very nice touch that I wish I would see more often in apps, as using not just the text but also the visual to mean things. I have never really understood what the fab does here, but
It's to add a server, custom server. Because this is browse tab, and the browse tab is for browsing anything locally or on the network.
So that would then show at the bottom in the network.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, it would add a favorite, so it would be on top.
So it would be in two places. Sorry, Nick.
At the bottom, it's auto-discovered network
okay.
shares. And at the top are the favorites. So if you add it yourself, it's considered as a favorite.
I wonder if this is appropriate for a fab, because I don't know how many people maybe use this feature, whereas a fab is like the primary action. It's very, attention grabbing, draws your eye to it. So I was wondering if maybe you could have something nearer to local networks, like have an add button near this.
And also doesn't make clear where the item is added. If you use the fab, I would expect it to go into the, I'm adding a local resource, local network resource. I would expect it to go in the local network, but then it ends up in the fab, but then in the favorites, but then the favorites might be even scrolled out of the screen, so it's a bit...
Where did it go? Yeah.
Yes, again, the refrain is keep actions close to their context, so it's easier to keep the mental model.
That's it.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. So we are now at noon, so that's the lunch time. But if everybody agrees, we can just continue the session. We have still one application installed. Maybe it will be shorter, just for you. And if people are really motivated and enjoy the session, we have other candidates that we could try to set up. There is the device, that's a companion app with a device. So, no, just to describe, that's a companion app with a device, so everything can happen also, which that will be very interesting.
At the mercy of Bluetooth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you want to eat, just go for lunch, no worries at all. Okay, let's go for Qonto.
Looks good. Let's get lunch.
Who wants to lead this one? Fanny, Anita?
I can click and go.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are a team,
So hello, I'm Jean-Philippe. I've been working at Qonto for the last almost 5 years. It's actually something you may have seen quite a lot in the metro and everywhere in Paris. We have a lot of ads coming, so maybe it's the first time you can see the actual application running.
What is Qonto?
special. Sorry?
What is Qonto?
Qonto is a business finance solution that are for the small and medium businesses. So we have about 250,000 clients in France, Germany, Spain, and Italy. So all this together makes it an application that we want to make it succeed very well with both design and not too many bugs, as few as we can. And this is a bit special because Eyal here was part of our teammates in Android. So if you see bugs, probably it comes from him.
For sure. I guarantee that.
I call them Easter eggs.
Thank you, JP. Let's start. So, just to let you know, because that's, of course, a banking application, there is an account to use, so I have one.
Yeah, okay.
And? You changed it?
Oh, no. You can type
okay,
that
anyways.
in.
But we start without being logged, okay? So we leave the real experience. Let's go.
All right.
Can you see that?
Oh, nice. I think that was really smooth.
I know the app.
Again, for tap target, not sure if that's, 48 by 48. It can again go with the accessibility scanner route. All right, should I sign in or open an account?
Before you go, you have designers, I can tell.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, there's a strong brand, there's identity even in the style of the illustration, so that's good. But
That's really nice. Yeah.
is that a splash screen?
Which one?
Do you want to sign in? Okay, you can try to open an
I'll
account.
just-
So we will just.
Oh.
No, you're not gonna like it. It's a web view.
All right.
Really?
Close that, close that.
Let's do it the whole one. No.
That's the
Yeah.
only web view thing we have.
Sorry. How do I go back?
For
okay.
context, for
Not
like
used to that.
streamers, this is a web view. It's the only
Okay,
web
so
view in
let
the
me-
app.
All right.
Okay.
Did you hire the stick?
Which email, Antonin? Antonin, is it your Pog email?
Non, c'est mon Qonto, donc antonin.qonto.com.
Pog with a C or no?
I have to accept on my phone, so I know.
You can see the error states.
Please don't send spam to Antonin. Subscribe to all the weird newsletters out there.
Like this?
The middle.
You know what makers?
Oh, makers with an S. Let's go.
So I need to accept it to my phone.
All right. Whoa.
It's very good onboarding.
Tu peux changer
It-
l'organisation?
Just get the microphone. Eyal, can you get him?
That was just instructions, so you can have the real new account experience.
Okay.
Well,
Things
so
are
this shouldn't
happening.
happen except on this very specific case because this is an information that is stored somewhere in the shell preferences. So you shouldn't have that actually on a specific case. But well, since you just changed the organization, it's not.
Let them test.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go for a test. You can ignore that and start the test right now. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say first impression was it kind of popped between different screens and then something popped up. It looks like that was an edge case.
You can have like a card showing up at the top of the list saying, do you want to set up Google Pay? And just tap it and bring the user to that.
Let's see, this is
different levels of information. We have different levels of information, and we have this kind of information. But this was the most important model we can choose because it's
Make it big and red. Brand designers might not agree, but it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Can you?
This reminds me a little bit of the N26 app, and you might be able to write on that a little bit to make people familiar with your UI. So for example, a thing that they do is that they keep the sum sort of visible when you scroll. And the other thing they do is that they sort of change it according to the dates that you're seeing, or how it was at that particular moment in time.
Have you done something special to announce that the text is stroke? Because strike, yeah. Sorry. Because with Tollback is not able to say that this text is strikes, but it's kind of an important information for the user. So you probably have to improve the description of the text.
Did you go through the items with, well, you didn't have an account, right?
Sorry?
You didn't have an account.
Yeah, I have an account,
Oh,
but
you have an account.
I
So
think
how-
I don't have this kind of, yeah.
Okay. So I did not expect single actions, or I guess because there are tabs also down at the bottom and there are tabs up here. I think the swipe action can get confusing.
Hidden feature nobody knows. Hidden.
I like the swipe actions. I like the animation you did when you first came in. So you would teach the gesture. If everyone, I'm not sure if you caught this, when you came in, it swiped one item left and right to reveal them, which I thought was good. Yeah, definitely you could introduce it for accessibility. And yeah, generally bottom navigation isn't swipeable, so I don't think it's in conflict here. Are these act like tabs, or are these kind of more like filters?
I think it's like filters.
They're more like chips, right? Kind of single select thing. So yeah, I think the swipe is okay, in my opinion. One thing I noticed is the bottom nav is harder to see which item is selected, I think, visually. It's the history, I think. It looks a bit better on the TV, actually. On here, the contrast is very similar.
Totally
it's
agree.
Grey to darker grey. So you might want to use some kind of scale or something else to kind of denote the selected item to give more of a sense of place.
It can be a little bit bigger too.
Yeah, it's 48, not the standard 56, right?
Are the declined items, have you checked the contrast? Because it looks very, very light. I don't know if it's the TV, if it's better on the phone.
No, it's also very low contrast on here.
Okay.
Like the box, this one.
Yeah.
Because if, like, it's not, it gets to a point where it's not even about people with different needs. It's just you're outside and there's the sun.
Yeah.
You don't read it. So that might be something you want to look at. I mean, it's easy to see the red icon, which is like the only colored icon that I can see in the list is the declined cross circle.
On color, I think you've done a nice job of like some touches that really embed your branding, like the little purple accent color you've used, and on the touch highlight as well. I think is nice. So I understand it's a functional app, right? You want to be kind of like businessy and it's very clean, but then the little flares of color are nice. I think you might also do some scrolling tricks, like I like the header change to kind of collapse to the kind of smaller version. I wonder if you could also collapse the chips. I don't know how many people want to see all them, whether you could do this in even smaller, because I think if I'm searching for a transaction, I kind of want to see as much as content as possible, so I would consider, yeah, if you can collapse that further, oops. And even maybe scrolling out the bottom nav is one option as well as you scrolled, and then bring it back on counter scroll. Could work well here. Research. So one thing on the search, it takes you straight away to a different screen. I was wondering if you could maybe keep them in the context, because I'm assuming it's searching the transactions list, right? You could even do something live as you're typing, having the list filter down for you.
So I do want to say that the first screen feels very, very text heavy, very numbers heavy. I would consider allocating some of it or having like a summary page, like that is bigger and like a home screen, a few numbers at a glance, and then the list, because this one is quite like heavy on the eyes.
So the question kind of I have at this point is, what is the primary use case for a user of this app? So when they get in the app, what are they trying to do?
They want to see their last. They want to see their last transactions.
Yes.
So this is why we show them their last transaction
That's
first.
what I do, just to check if I've been paid, so
Yeah.
that's quite useful.
Maybe something, I don't know, it's like this number is important, like I'm guessing, the money that they have, and maybe, I don't know, how many transactions going in, something like PayPal, right? They show like going in, going out, and then you can sort of, yeah.
You can also think maybe if they only want to check the last few transactions, they don't need to have the full history right away. So that will buy you some real estate that they can use for something more visual to give it a bit more breathing room for the first impact. and then you can always drill down. But that's like, it depends. You have to check what your users are actually doing. If they tend to scroll a lot, then maybe the kind of information, but that also would tell you that the kind of information that people are looking for are not in front of them when they start the app. So there's like a balance that maybe your analytics or user study can get you, which is hard for me as a non-user to understand.
It's coming. It's hidden if you the screen. This information already exists. It's just hidden for beta tester in some place, and we will bring them in the first page when it will be fully developed.
Got it.
Yeah, you could like section it off. Again, it depends on what people usually do, but you could like have a max number of transactions that you show with the see all, so they can go to another screen, and then you can show maybe graphs or like whatever, any insights that's important, or if you have premium that you want people to subscribe or something like that. Yeah, but again, maybe this is exactly what people want, missing context, but yeah.
One thing that's surprising to me is that some items seem to be swipeable, but others aren't. So it seems like I can swipe.
Yeah, the
only
reason
one
is
way?
you can attach receipts to some of the kind of operation types, but for subscription and fees that Qonto charges the client, you cannot attach something because we already attach it to the transaction. So it's already attached there. So if you go into the details of the transaction, then you will see exactly what you can do, but it will already be attached. So you don't have no reason to try to attach something more. But indeed, it's not really explicit there.
Yeah, no, what I might suggest is, because some you can swipe, some you can't, maybe try and give some feedback of this. So maybe if I try and swipe an item, it kind of goes a little bit, but there's like a strong resistance and it pings back. Just to feedback, I don't know now if it's not possible or it's not working or if I'm swiping wrong. So giving me some feedback that, okay, I understand you're trying to swipe, but it's not applicable here, would teach the user, I think.
And maybe also try to visually distinguish the items that are swipeable, so that users don't even have to try. You know, like they know that they can do that or they cannot do that.
Or another thing is like a common pattern is like long pressing to try and get secondary actions. So you could use this to like, either offer it as a secondary action or even just like animate it to hint that, I can see you're trying to do more, and, expose that there are actions behind the swipe. Something like this could be useful.
Can we go to the Android Auto transfers section? Yeah, the icon reminds me a lot of Android Auto.
Android Auto.
These are like recurring.
The transfer and the request page are really simple page, just list of transaction or request. If you want to go to the cards section, it's a really complex one.
Okay.
Just on the transfer, it's the same. This button on every screen is not flexible with toolbar, so just add a content description, so because this action is not possible.
Very pretty card. So you can have a number of cards here. Is like what happens if you swipe different cards? Okay.
No. What deleted? Lost?
I do a lot of tests.
Yes, this is a testing account. We have a lot of cards and a lot of details that normally users don't have.
Either that or Antonin is terrible at keeping his cards.
Yeah, what I noticed is like the entire screen kind of jumps with it. But I guess it's a nice refresh action as well.
What are the name bubbles? Like,
you are it's a company account, and this is a company where there are several people. So each of the people who have a card will appear there, and as an administrator, you can see which card belongs to who, and you can go fix the settings of each person's card.
Okay.
Got it.
This is an administrator account, so you can see everything and you can act on everything.
But a normal user wouldn't see the top row of users.
Exactly.
They just get the
because he can
their
see
cards.
only his own card.
Got it. That's interesting because these bubbles are used in other apps as transfers, like transfer to this person, which was my first guess.
Yeah, I've seen that used, like that kind of UI is generally used for, well, stories in some apps or to send money to someone else.
Yeah.
Because
Like, it might not immediately
again,
clear.
it's a company account, so
Yeah. I don't expect stories.
you
in
don't
Qonto.
want to send money
Yeah.
to your coworker.
Yeah, maybe it's just not entirely clear that the top thing is like a switcher. If you
Yeah.
pick someone else, it's going to show someone else's cards, right?
Exactly.
So they're sort of like tabs in a way.
In fact, you have your different accounts, like from all accounts, you have your different coworker, and then you have your different cards. It's like sub folders.
Okay.
We have 3 levels of
Yeah, there's a very complex hierarchy that it is a bit beyond the understanding that I can get from just the first use. So forgive me if if it doesn't make sense.
This is why I asked you to go to this page, because it's the most complex of the app.
I am noticing that this app is very action heavy, which I am actually thinking that maybe some onboarding in some places could be helpful, because there's a lot of hidden actions here. So could be nice to like get some intro to them.
Yeah, technically, when you open an account, almost all screens are fully empty. You have an empty state that pretty much tells you where you are and what you should see in this place when you will have done something. But here you already have all the elements already ordered and everything. So indeed, in terms of context, maybe it's not the best situation
Yeah,
to.
the more complex one.
Another thing you could consider, which is fairly rare, but maybe someone could do that, is you can have additional UI elements that over time you can start hiding as users get more used to the app. So the first time they get to the screen, it says people in the company at the top of the circles. And then, after a few times that they use it, and you can kind of understand that they have understood how it works, then you can hide the label because it doesn't matter anymore. People are not going to read it anyway. They know what they're doing. But as you get started, it can be useful to add some more stuff and it's like adaptively roll back the informational UI over time.
Maybe it's just my bank does this, but is there any way you can like copy the card number? It's quite handy.
You click on reveal numbers.
Oh, you have to reveal first. Okay.
And
I got the confirm
there is
thing.
a nice.
I have to accept it.
Yeah.
So maybe do it with the lost one, so it won't work. I don't know if those are real cards that people can actually get the numbers from the live stream.
Yes, but I also have to accept any transaction.
And one thing about this feature, which is
shopping.
really cool to be able to copy paste, but you should add a description because with Tollback, it's a button and it says the card number, and you don't know what happens if you double tap. So if you use Compose, for example, you can say double tap to copy the card number. You can customize the action verb. So maybe you can try that, or just add a sentence saying this button is to copy paste the card number.
Do you have one last word for this application before we maybe end the session?
I really like this application. I'm using it. It's really easy to use, so good job.
Wow, that's a perfect story.
Thanks to your Eyal.
Eyal, I think they patched all your bugs.
For sure, when I left. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot. A round of applause to all our reviewers and developers.
Thank you, Eyal.
That's
And thanks to everyone who volunteered their apps. It can be a bit scary,
Yeah.
so thank you so much.
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you very much.
Have a good day, everyone. So at 2, the sessions are restarting. How was it? You liked it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Antonin, delete that card.
That's the idea.
It's like,
It's a nice size.
Yeah.
Was it
Okay.
your first happening?
No, I don't need.
just in case. Just in case.
Yeah, you've done a few in London, I think. There were these app sessions that we've done with
Yeah, we
several
started doing that in London.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I stole the ID for all the drink
You
companies
borrowed.
and,
It's a free franchise. It's like